Hi everyone, welcome to the next Paper Flourish craft video. I've decided today that this is one of my recent purchases. We very recently in store got in the Stamperia die ink pads. They're part of the Create Happiness range, which Stamperia has released, part of their journaling range. So I've decided to have a play with them today and see how these ink pads work using different types of crafting methods. See how they behave. They come in a fantastic range of colours. I've got 4 of them here. That was my purchase last week, so at some point I'm sure I will purchase the other 2, but at the moment it was very hard to decide which ones to go with. One thing I thought was great was that if you're like me and you suffer from sort of need to have every colour, then there's only 6 of them out. So, and she's chosen a great bunch of colours. So these are kind of going to work with everything. But so at least there's only 6 to buy rather than 26 or 36 or 106 like we've got in with our distress ink pads. So makes it a little bit easier. So the ones I've chosen to go with, first up, I chose the burgundy, which is this lovely deep sort of maroon colour, blue navy, so that's your darker blue. We've got coffee, great colour. That is going to be probably the most useful colour you'll buy. And then you've got the lovely green of nature. Now the 2 colours I haven't yet added to my collection are black shadow. So you've got your black ink pad, and you've also got, I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce this right or not, cerulean blue, which is a lighter, almost like a turquoise blue. Lovely colour. I sat there with the blue navy and that one in my hand going, which one? And I ended up deciding to go with the blue navy to start with. So they're the 4 that I'm going to have a play with today, and I want you to be able to see these lovely colours. I've actually only just unwrapped these, so I'm as new to this as you are at the moment. First thing I thought, let's try the ink blending. Let's pop these up here. Now I know they are a die ink pad, but I've been watching Vicky from Stamperia, her videos, and she blends with these all the time. So we're going to give it a go. I have a piece here of white multifarious cardstock, the Lavinia multifarious cardstock, which is your #1 cardstock for ink blending and stamping for your card fronts. So you get such amazing results. So let's try the burgundy first up. And I'm going to start with a Lavinia stencil brush. So we're going to go for a bit of a lighter blending to begin. Picked up the medium one. Let's pick up a bit of ink. They're pretty inky, these ink pads. Take a bit off. And let's do a bit of ink blending up the top here. Yeah, they blend really nicely. So I wondered, of course our archival ink is a dye ink, but I don't find that quite as easy to blend with. It's great because it's waterproof and permanent. So that's because I'm using the stencil brush, I'm getting a little bit more of a lighter blending happening there, but you can see really nice colour. Okay, so there's a bit of, so that's our burgundy. Nature, the lovely green colour. Now this time I'm going to pick up the Tim Holtz tool. I've got the dome sponge on the end. And by using this tool, you can get a little bit of a darker blending, and that's working really well. But they're blending great, aren't they? I'm getting a nice smooth blending. I'm not getting the sort of the circles and the marks on it you can sometimes get, especially with the dye ink. And I can see the 2 colours even up the top there are starting to blend in together. So these are sort of staying wet long enough that you can get that blending happening. I'm doing lots of the green because I like green. Do you like green? Hope so. Okay, let's move on from the green. Blue navy. I'm going to go back to the Lavinia stencil brush here. Let's pick up a larger one this time. Bit of ink. Oh, this is going to be a nice colour. Ooh. Okay. The reason I bought the navy rather than the cerulean blue is that I have plans to do a journal page using the new Cosmos Infinity range. So keep a watch out for that because I plan to get that video out very soon. I thought this colour is going to work really well with that range. So that's your blue navy. It's a lovely blue. It is quite deep, and again, if I was using the domes, I'd get a little bit of a darker colour, but I like that. And the last one we're going to do is coffee. I quite like the name of that. I don't mind a cup of coffee. Must be nearly coffee time, I think. Okay, so now I'm going back to the dome. So let's get, they certainly blend really, really well with these Tim Holtz blending tool and the dome, the Lavinia as well. I'm going to give the Lavinia one a go with the stencil in a minute. We'll test it out and see how it goes with stenciling. So there's the 4 colours that I've got. And they're all really nice, aren't they? Even the brown's really good too. I don't normally pick up a brown ink pad, but it's probably going to be the most useful one of all 4 of them. So you can see there, they've blended fantastic. Now these react with water. So I've got my little water pot and my fan brush, and we're going to sprinkle some water over these. Let it sit for a little bit, but you can see already, can you see the bleaching happening? So these will react with water. See the bleach spots? I'm going to get a paper towel. Excuse me, reaching across the table there. Pop that on top just to take away some of the ink. So they've reacted fantastic with water. Doesn't that make a really interesting, good background? So that's another property these have, that you can get that bleaching look, which we know we can also get with the Distress Oxide. Okay. So I like that. I'll pop that to the side. Now let's see how they stencil. So I've picked up here, I've got the Create Happiness stencil. This is the compass one, which at the moment we have run out of in the store. However, we are getting them back in as soon as we can. So we'll have them back. As keep a watch out on our website, and we'll let you know when all these things come back into stock. Okay, I'm going to do some of the blue, I think, with the compass stencil. Let's go in with the Lavinia stencil brush this time. And I'm just going to stencil the compass. You could do this with your Tim Holtz dome as well. How's that turning out? Looks great, doesn't it? So they stencil really, really well. I said if I wanted that to be even darker, all I need to do is use the dome to do my stenciling. Okay, wipes really quickly and easily off your stencil as well. Right, so stenciling. Now these stamp, you can use them to stamp, and in fact, here's one I prepared last night. You Deserve the Moon. But I'll show you they stamp. I've got this, I bought one of the Cosmos Infinity stamp sets, and again planning to use it in the journal page, which I'll be doing soon. So, and I've picked up Lucky Star today, so I'll show you how nicely they do stamp. I can do that on this one. The reason I stamped it last night, I'll explain to you very soon. Now we know our archival ink, our dye ink, black archival, by that I mean, for example, something like this. We know that that is waterproof, and that is my #1 choice when I go to do journaling and so forth. But I wanted to see how these are going to behave in a journal. I think I've inked that up enough there. Got it on my Lavinia acrylic plate, and we're going to pop a Lucky Star stamp here. Let's see how they go stamping. Beautiful. So that's worked out. Look, nice deep colour. That's stamped without a problem. Wipes off nice and easy off the stamp. Okay, now the reason I stamped it last night is I wanted to see how it reacts with water, because if I wanted to use these in a journal and I wanted to do a lot of other mixed media products on top of it, I wanted to see whether it's going to stand the test of all those other products. As we know, if we stamp with our black archival or our archival inks, you can do anything over the top of them and they won't budge. So let's have a look at Lucky Star. I've just got my water bottle and I'm going to spray it, and it's moving a little bit. Interesting. So I'm getting a little bit of water there, because I said these react with water as we saw before. Let's have a look. Interesting that when I do that, the stamps actually stayed. So it's there, but it has actually moved a little bit with water. Now that's the one I've just stamped. The reason why I did this one last night is I thought I'm going to let it completely dry overnight and see what happens. So let's give this one. This was stamped in the blue navy. I've pretty much saturated it here with water. Now that has a little bit, it's moved, but not as much as it did earlier. And if I dab that off, I've still got my stamped image. So it's held up extremely well. We got a little bit of colour run, but not too much. And that has actually, the stamped image is there. So I would probably still go with an archival ink in a journal. However, if I wanted a colour and that was the colour I needed and I didn't have a blue archival, I would pick that up because that's held, it hasn't disappeared. I just had a little bit of a colour run, but not too much. Same with the Lucky Star here. So the stamp is still there. So they're pretty good. Okay, this is fun. Let's play. So what else can we give a try? How do these things go with smooshing? Do you know what smooshing is? Smooshing is fun. So let's get another piece in here, piece of cardstock. Oh, let's go with the burgundy. Smooshing, put a little bit of ink onto your mat. Give it a spray with water. So again, these will move with water, they'll react with the water. And then you get your card and you pick it up. And you get a nice background. You can dry that off with the heat tool. So it's a really nice quick way to do a background. And again, these inks, because they moved with the water, you can use them for smooshing. Drying off there. It's actually the colour, that burgundy's turned into a really nice shade of sort of almost pink, hasn't it? A lighter shade with that smooshing. I used to call it splushing, and then I've discovered, Sharon at work told me it's smooshing. Now smooshing, yeah, I've got it right now, so I have to keep reminding myself that it's smooshing. So this, we know it will move with water. Let's bring back the fan brush, pick up a little bit of this ink, and you can do some nice splats with that. Yeah. That. Instant background. Dry that off and you're ready to stamp and do whatever you want to on it. So they will work with that. Now the last thing I want to try is with a gel press. So I've got here, that one, I've got the Squarely gel press from Lavinia, and I've popped it onto my Lavinia acrylic plate, the large one. That's the one I always keep, I use for my gel press. So I'll just pop that down so you can see it there. There's the gel press, little rubbery thing, and then it just sits on there and it'll stick on there. So somewhere there it is. I've got my brayer and we're going to try Nature. Again, I like the green. So I'm going to pick up some ink with my brayer, and said I haven't tried this, so I have no idea how these ink pads are going to work on the gel press, but I thought we'll try it together and find out. We know that the colour always, it looks lighter on the gel press than it's going to turn out. There's a fair bit of ink on there. I'll just rub that off onto the paper to remove most of the colour. Now we know that they react with water, so let's add some little splats of water here. You could do that with a colour of one of the other inks. Oh, should we try that? Why not? Burgundy, oh, we'll do some brown. A little bit of brown up here. Let's wet it with the water. Pick it up. So this is the coffee colour. I'm going to do just a few little marks. I don't know if this is going to turn out or not, but we're going to discover that in just a moment. So I've got some water I've put on there. I've got some of the coffee as well. Where's my cardstock? We're going to flip this over, place it down onto the card. We can press it. Now you can see at the moment I've got areas that are wet and areas that aren't. If you press this just to make sure it's completely printed onto the card, which it has, and we take it away and it looks okay, doesn't it? Let's give it a dry. I can see the coffee. It's not standing out as much as if you'd use like a Brusho powder, the dye powder, but it's still given a really interesting background. So these have stayed wet, these inks have stayed wet long enough on the gel plate to be able to use them. So that's another use, and they're quite a nice colour, quite a nice vibrant colour to use. I imagine the burgundy would look pretty stunning as well, done that way. So that's given us a really nice background to use as well. So lots of different ways these fantastic ink pads can be used. As I said, they come at the moment in 6 colours, so a good way to start the collection. But I can see the use for each of these colours, including the beautiful blue and, of course, your black, having the black. So blending, stamping, stenciling, gel press, so many uses. These are available now in store and online at Paper Flourish. Thank you so much for watching as we've had a play with these. And I'm going to work on a journal page using these inks and also the Cosmos Infinity range. So I will have that video up as soon as I can. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.